Alright, you lot. Welcome back to the channel where we cut through crap like hot knife through buttered up lies. Today we're diving headfirst into absurdity of Call of Duty's groundbreaking announcement. Yes, folks, Nuketown is back. Again. Because apparently Treyarch has run out of ideas and just figured we wouldn't notice. Seriously, how many times are we gonna get served same reheated meal and pretend it's Michelin star cuisine? But before we tear this to shreds, don't forget to like, subscribe and all that bollocks. It helps the channel grow. Keeps me ranting. Right, let's get into it. So, Treyarch confirmed that Black Ops 6 will have remastered version of original Nuketown. Now, I don't know about you, but my initial reaction was why? And no, not a curious why, but what in the actual hell are you thinking kind of why? Let me paint a picture for you. Treyarch, once one of the most creative studios in FPS world, is now basically gaming equivalent to lazy guy who keeps reheating the same meal for a week straight. And fans? Apparently we're supposed to lap it up like it's brand new dish. Oh look, it's original Nuketown, but shinier. Yeah, cause slapping a new coat of paint on an old car makes it a Ferrari, right? This is what really grinds me gears. Where's innovation? Where's that spark of originality that used to define COD? Treyarch used to lead pack. They used to be ones taking risks. Now they're just content with dusting off an old relic and calling it progress. And fanbase? Same ones who whinge about lack of content are somehow giddy in excitement over this. It's like being excited to unwrap same Christmas present every bloody year. Why the hell are we still pretending this is exciting? Look, if I wanted to play original Nuketown, I'd fire up Black Ops 1 and bask in actual nostalgia, not this recycled rubbish. How many times do they expect us to play the same map before we scream, enough? It's like they've run out of creative juice and now they're just squeezing last drops from fruit that died over a decade ago. Here's where it really gets under my skin. Modern Warfare 3 dropped its final season, and what do they serve up? 5 variants of Shipment. 5! Because apparently when you got 0 ideas left, logical solution is to shovel out 5 different flavours at same stale map. And now Treyarch's pulling the same stunt with Nuketown. It's like entire Call of Duty dev teams sat down and said, you know what gamers want? Same thing they've already had for the past 15 years. Ah, cheers lads, very creative. Magica original they call it. More like cheap magic trick we've seen too many times. You're not pulling a rabbit out of a hat anymore. You're pulling the same dead rabbit out of a bin bag. And fans, I love you lot. But seriously, we need to have a chat. Why are so many people getting hyped for this? I see tweets, Reddit posts and YouTube comments with people acting like it's second coming of Christ, when in reality it's just Treyarch getting us a reheated microwave meal. And you're all jumping to defend it like it's Michelin star gourmet. You know what I miss? Days when a new COD game actually felt like a new experience. When you get brand new maps, mechanics, and mods that made you excited to dive in. Now it's just a carousel of same stuff with shinier graphics and a new price tag. It's like going to a gig where band only plays the greatest hits on repeat because they've forgotten how to write new songs. Let's be real. Reason Nuketown keeps coming back is because Activision knows they can milk nostalgia for cash. It's a cheap ploy, a lazy shortcut. And every time we fall for it, we give more reason to not try harder. Where's ambition? Where's desire to push envelope? Because right now, Call of Duty is looking like a franchise stuck on autopilot, with devs too busy counting the cash to care. Now here's real kicker. Talent behind Call of Duty? Most of it's gone. Legends who gave us golden era of COD? They jumped ship. Probably after realising they didn't want to be part of Activision's rinse and repeat nostalgia machine. What we're left with now is a hollowed out shell of what those studios used to be. Infinity Ward, Treyarch, even Sledgehammer. They used to be pioneers. Now they're just marionettes dancing to tune of Activision's corporate greed. Think about it. Treyarch had 4 years to work on Black Ops 6. And what do they come up with? Same bloody Nuketown we had since 2010. 4 years! That's enough time to get something mind-blowing. But no, instead we get shiny version of a map we played 1,000 times and we're expected to smile and say thank you. It's like they're not even trying anymore. They know they can half-ass a game because fanbase has gotten so used to mediocrity that we'll just shrug and go, Well, at least it's Nuketown. Nah, mate, I'm not here for that. Then you got Activision's bigwigs sitting in the gold-plated offices, rubbing their hands together like cartoon villains. They've figured out they don't need to innovate when they can just keep serving reheated scraps from past games and call it a day. Talent has either been forced to tote corporate line or has left to find places where actual innovation is appreciated. Why bother creating something new when you can just slap a new logo on an old product and call it a remaster? Sledgehammer, the one studio that actually had a shred of fresh ideas, got shoved at back room like an awkward kid in class. They try to bring new ideas to the table, but what happens? Activision tells them to shut up and go play with old toys instead. I mean, look at Advanced Warfare. At least they tried something different with movement systems and weaponry. But now they've been relegated to just propping up Treyarch and Infinity Ward's stale ideas, like a support act that never gets spotlight. Devs aren't problem. Real issue is corporate suits joking life out of these franchises, forcing them to play safe, to play boring. And don't even get me started on recent leaks. Remember old World Cup wind that Black Ops 6 were apparently finished months ago? Oh yeah, we all saw it. Leaked left, right and centre. And for a brief moment we thought, maybe they're onto something. Maybe, just maybe, this is year they'll blow our minds again. But nah, Treyarch must have thought, why release good stuff now when we can save it for next game, slap new title and call it innovation? Because what did we get in beta? Half-baked glitchy mess. I mean, Liberty Falls. Who signed off on that disaster? I don't know who's doing quality control over there, but they've clearly been asleep at wheel since 2016. And now, instead of taking responsibility, Activision's out here gaslighting us with the marketing, trying to convince everyone that everything's fine, and this is all part of the grand plan. 2 years in making, they shout as if that's supposed to excuse laziness. 2 years? And they're acting like they gave birth to a masterpiece when in reality they're serving as reheated Big Mac. Seriously, big changes, they say. Only big change I see is increasing lack of effort. Worst part is that they expect us to believe it's all brand new. Mate, just cause you wrap a turd in a glittery box don't make it a present worth opening. It's still a turd, just shinier and maybe with a bow. And they keep gaslighting fanbase, expecting us to be grateful for these scraps. Activision's out here feeding us this narrative that everything's been meticulously crafted for 2 years. But if we're being honest, it looks like they've spent 2 weeks at best. It's all just smoke and mirrors. They'd rather lie through the teeth than admit they've been coasting for years, banking on our nostalgia while solar Call of Duty rots away. This ain't COD we grew up loving. This is Frankenstein's monster of what used to be. And no amount of marketing buzzwords or corporate spin can change that. Here's the thing though, I don't hate Call of Duty. Far from it. I've been there since start. Back when Call of Duty in 2003 was game changer. And it only got better with Modern Warfare and Black Ops. We all remember those days, right? When COD were top of its game. Untouchable, unstoppable. It was fun. Kind of fun that made you lose hours without realising it. Kind of fun that could make you rage and still drag you back in because you knew it were worth it. But now it's like watching your favourite band that used to play killer shows start doing cover songs of their own greatest hits. And not even good ones. COD Soul, that thing that made it best game on market, it's been gutted. All that's left is this corporate product that feels more like a cash grab than a passion project. And worst part, we players let it happen. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Call of Duty could have stayed at top, but they got greedy. They sought dollar signs and stopped caring about what made game great in first place. Ever since they cranked up that dreaded SBMM and introduced that slimy EOMM nonsense, it's all been downhill. It's like Activision sat down and thought, how can we take all joy out of gaming and replace it with frustration, but still keep people hooked? And boy, did they find a way. You're not just playing against players anymore. You're playing against an algorithm that's designed to manipulate your experience. Win just enough to keep you engaged, but not enough to feel satisfied. It's psychological warfare, and we're the ones being gaslit into thinking this is somehow for our own good. Back in the day, if you were good at COD, you'd have a blast wiping floor with noobs. If you weren't great, you'd learn hard way and get better. That's what built competitive spirit. But now, it's a constant grind where every match feels like a chore, not a joy. No room to breathe, no room to actually improve. It's just same repetitive cycle and it's killing what made the game fun in first place. If Call of Duty hadn't gone down this road, if it had stayed true to its roots, I wouldn't even be looking at other games. But here I am, fully enjoying X-Defiant, and that's saying something. That's what happens when a once great game loses its way. You look elsewhere, and before long you realise you've moved on. If COD was still COD I fell in love with, I wouldn't even give these other games a second glance. And here we are, staring at mess Call of Duty has become. A once mighty titan of gaming, now reduced to rehashed maps, recycled content and matchmaking systems designed to squeeze every last bit of enjoyment out of your soul. And what do the gears in return? More at same, except now it's wrapped in shiny graphics and marketed as next big thing. Look, I get it, game development is hard. But when you've got 4 years to work on a game and your big selling point is a remastered Nuketown, that's not hard, it's lazy. That's playing it safe, and safe don't cut it anymore. Especially when you're charging full price for the same old thing. It's a slap in face to every loyal player who's stuck by COD through thick and thin, hoping for something that feels fresh, feels new. But instead we got this franchise on life support, kept alive only by a collective nostalgia and lure of just one more match. And don't think I'm alone here. Player base has started to wake up. You can see it in numbers. COD ain't pulling in the same crowd it used to, and for good reason. Since 2016, when they really started leaning into this matchmaking manipulation and pay-to-win mentality, cracks have been showing. Player counts have been slowly dipping, not cause people don't want to love COD, but cause COD has stopped loving its players. What's truly tragic is that Activision is so blinded by greed they can't see long game they're losing. They're so focused on squeezing every last penny out at current player base that they've completely forgotten what made Call of Duty great in first place. Community, fun, feeling a real achievement when you dominated a match. Not cause some algorithm decided to give you a little nudge, but because you earned it. And all this we're winning you back nonsense they're trying to peddle now. It's laughable. They can't win us back with marketing slogans or shiny trailers. We're not that stupid. We know that we're being fed, and that's not enough anymore. If they really wanted to win us back, they'd start by shutting off SBMM, EOMM circus. They'd go back to creating content that's actually new and not just a spit-shine version at past. But we all know that's not going to happen. Instead, they'll keep pushing out these reheated maps, trying to milk a nostalgia out franchise circles drain. And the longer they do it, more players will move on like I did. Because at the end of the day, there are other games out there. Games that actually respect the player base. Games that are innovating while Call of Duty keeps pretending it's still 2010. So Activision, if you're listening, know this. We're not buying your bullshit anymore. Only thing you're killing faster than COD's soul is our patience. See, it's bottom line, folks. Call of Duty is like that mate who peaked in high school and spends every night in pub reminiscing about good old days. Except now, those days are long gone, and we're left with a lost shell of what once was. They can remaster Nuketown 100 bloody times, but it won't change the fact that they've lost spark, creativity, and art that made us love game in first place. And worst part, it's not even devs' fault. It's suits pulling strings at Activision. Too busy counting the billions to care about quality at game anymore. They've taken a franchise that defined an era and turned it into a cynical cash cow, milking every last drop of nostalgia from us poor saps who once believed in it. But now we're waking up. Slowly but surely. Look, if you still enjoy COD, more power to you. But let's not pretend the game is old, new or exciting. We deserve better than this recycled crap. And unless something changes, which, let's be honest, it won't, slow, painful death the Call of Duty will continue. So anyone at Treyarch or Activision listening, maybe, just maybe, try something new next time, eh? Smash that like button, hit subscribe and leave your comments and questions below. Might just feature them on channel. I'll see you next time, you magnificent